the
Creepy, Cryptic
podcast.
Hi, welcome everyone to the Creepy Cryptic podcast, the podcast about the creepy, the cryptic, and the macabre. I'm your host Clancy, joined as always by the wonderful Ron.
Hi everybody.
Today we're doing something a little different. Today we're talking about our top 5 favorite horror movies. We're both big lovers of horror, and we hope that today you might walk away with a few recommendations. Let's get to it. So I'm going to start us off with my number 5, and it is the movie Tremors. Some horror movies you don't necessarily like because of the cinematography or the directing or the performances. Sometimes it's about the memories that are associated with watching that movie, and that's kind of what's going on with my number 5. I watched this movie so many times when I was a kid. It was a family favorite. I think that's the main reason why this movie holds such a special place in my heart for me. For those who aren't familiar with this 90s classic, it's about the people of a small town being taken out one by one by an underground creature. Fred Ward and Kevin Bacon are great in it. They're the main guys. The practical effects are fantastic. Overall, just so much fun. Very fun. I'm not going to defend this movie as some kind of masterpiece, but it holds a really special place in my heart, like I said. If you like horror comedies and monster movies, highly recommend it. And one thing that I really like is you get a really good look at the monster, which I love. It's not like too dark like some movies I find today. Like I sound like such a oldie, but some movies I find today are so dark that you can't really see what's going on, and you can't really see like a proper look at the monster, which just kills it for me. But in this final act of the movie, not to spoil anything, there is like a great shot of it. And I found out when I was just doing a little bit of research about the movie, it was all filmed with miniatures in a parking lot, which I thought was very neat. It's not a movie for everybody, but sorry, I didn't mean to say that. So miniatures takes place in a parking lot. The lack of CGI is so nice, and yeah, it's just one of my favorites. Have you seen it, Ron?
I have seen bits and pieces.
You haven't seen the whole thing? Oh my gosh.
I have not watched the whole thing through.
Okay, so don't judge me.
I mean, anything with practical effects is always fun.
Yeah. Yeah, and this was, I think it's from like, what, 1991? Tremors? Or 19, something. In the 90s, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It was a great time for horror movies, and like I mentioned earlier, it's nothing that's gonna win awards, but I think about all those times we sat on the couch in the living room and we watched Tremors, and it was just always something fun to put on, and it was great. So it makes me feel all warm and fuzzy.
So my number 5, mine are not necessarily in any particular order. I just had to put them in an order. But my number 5, I also have a very personal connection to. It was one of my dad's favorite movies. So my number 5 is The Creature from the Black Lagoon from 1954. I'm a big fan of the Universal, the monster movies, the old black and white horror movies.
Love.
Very much that aesthetic. I absolutely love it. And honestly, Creature from the Black Lagoon is my favorite, but also I find one of the best. So in Creature from the Black Lagoon, the story begins with a scientific expedition into the Amazon. Dr. David Reed, a paleontologist, and his team, including the intelligent Kate Lawrence, travel upriver to study a fossilized fish specimen, but instead of just a fossil, they discover a living relic, the Gill Man, a humanoid amphibious creature from prehistoric times. So like the plot unfolds, the team are there to try to study the creature. They attempt to catch it. However, the gill man has other plans. He observes the humans, forms a fascination with Kay, and displays both cunning and protective instincts over his territory. So, one of my favorite parts of the movie is there is a scene where Kay is swimming through the water and the creature is below her under the water, mimicking her movements, copying her, watching her. It's just a very, very cool scene to be shot in 1954. Like, I couldn't imagine how they did it.
Yeah, because I imagine even like underwater cameras back then were like something amazing to behold.
Well, too, the film was shot in 3D because there was a
Oh,
big 3D
yeah. Oh,
craze.
jeez.
So I saw in one documentary about the film, they had two divers and they had this big camera, and it was literally two cameras sandwiched together the film in 3D in a watertight box. And they had to have two camera operators to in order to swim with it to follow the creature into the water.
Wow.
So a lot of the themes of the film are very the creature is very sympathetic because you feel both sad for him because he comes across as very lonely, especially with his fascination in Kay, but also he is terrifying in that he is this creature out of time that is trying to protect his what he sees as his territory too. So like a lot of the themes of embodying the consequences of humanity's intrusion into nature is a huge theme.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Also, the suit itself is a great piece of practical effect, but it also weighed like 70 pounds. So they had to have two separate actors, Ben Chapman and Rico Browning, play the creature. One played him on land, while the other was a professional swimmer and played him in the water. And because of how the costume was designed, they couldn't put like an air tank or anything into it. So Rico Browning just had to hold his breath for minutes at a time while they got their shots.
Yeah. So you had like the technical aspects of like making it in 3D, having underwater shots, and like the whole suit thing. So like those actors probably had to be so strong, and like the one obviously had to be able to hold his breath. So
Oh,
just like,
absolutely.
yeah, like the amount of work that went into this movie, like very cool.
What's also very interesting is it is the three creature from the Black Lagoon films. The best is obviously the first. Came at a time too. They are the last of the Universal monsters, the golden age of the monsters. They were the last official Universal monster pictures put out by Universal. And most people probably haven't seen it. It's one of my favorites. It is still such a fun time, but more people probably are familiar with the more modern retellings, and most modern one being heavily inspired The Shape of Water by Guillermo del Toro.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's a good movie. That's a good one.
It's so good.
Yeah, I remember I've seen it once, Creature from the Black Lagoon. I've seen it once, and again, it was with my dad because we were more into the horror than my mom was. She wasn't as into the scary stuff. So we were up late one night and looking for something to watch, and that was on, and I remember watching it together, and it was really good, and it was a really fun watch.
It's a ton of fun. Like I've probably seen it probably about a dozen times. Growing up, me and my dad, it was his favorite, so we would put it on, and lots of late nights watching it.
Okay, so we're gonna bounce back to me, and I'll give you my number four. I will say that mine are in order of my preference. So number one will obviously be my favorite horror movie of all time. But yeah, we're on number four now, and my number four is The Descent. It's claustrophobic. there are monsters and there's lots of tension. It's a bit lesser known, but it really deserves a watch. It's about a group of women who go on a cabin retreat and they want to do some spelunking. And once they're underground, things begin to go horribly wrong and they face off against some monsters. Now, I'm going to say yet again that this movie is a favorite for me for reasons other than the technical aspects. And it's also, once again, like kind of a personal thing for me. I'll get into that now. So my favorite books of all time are Frankenstein by Mary Shelley and The Descent by Jeff Long. Jeff Long's book and this movie supposedly have no relation, according to those who made the movie, but I have suspicions. I have conspiracy theories. Not really. I have thoughts, okay? The book
You
is
got your
about...
red string board going?
Exactly. I got my board. I got my red yarn. I've got my pictures. I've got my printouts. No, I'm kidding. But just, they're too close for comfort. You know what I mean?
So many similarities.
Yeah. Like, it's
what
too
inspired
much.
what?
Well, definitely the book. I think the book came out way before the movie.
Okay, yeah.
And yeah, the book is about humanity discovering this race of underground humanoid creatures and then like the adjustments we have to make. So building cities underground, sending out military scouting parties to clear sections of cave, scientific expeditions into the underground, all that. And it's a really great book. They call the monsters Homo hadalis, and the creatures in the book are described as pale, humanoid creatures that have adapted to the darkness and have no qualms in tracking, hunting, and killing humans who venture into the caves that they live in. Now, the movie, for all intents and purposes, could be taking place in the early days of this novel where humanity is beginning to discover these creatures, because Jeff Long does not short stories but different little blurbs of things happening where the creatures are slowly coming out and becoming more prevalent and being found and discovered more and more until finally it's like, oh my god, they exist and people just know. The spelunkers in the movie get hunted down one by one by pale humanoid creatures adapted to the darkness who live deep in the caves. You can see where I'm going with this, the resemblance. So while the movie is intense and it's thrilling and it has great gore and all that, it's the relation to my favorite book that really makes it for me. Seeing a story brought to life that could potentially have taken place in Jeff Long's book, it was awesome for me. I loved seeing that. That's really why it's one of my favorites. Reading The Descent and watching the movie really got me into underground, literally, underground, underground horror. And I just love any horror stuff that takes place in caves and that kind of thing. Another recommendation that I would like to make is the Hellhole Anthology. It's a novel where all the stories, a book where all the stories somehow connect to being underground. I'll mention too that The Descent has a sequel, The Descent 2. And to be fair, I've only seen it once, but from what I remember, it was decent, and I would like to revisit it again. So, not a super strong recommendation for that one, but I remember it being good, so take that as you will.
Cool. So my number 4 is The Wolfman from 1941, starring Lon Chaney Jr. It is, honestly, I believe it is the strongest of all of the Universal Monster movies.
Interesting.
A little bit of a
like a hot take.
Yeah, a little bit of a hot take there. But when you know the story behind the development of it and stuff, it very much a lot of the symbolism definitely jumps out to you. So The Wolfman was made in 1941 during World War II. And it has a lot of the screenwriter of the Wolfman was a Polish Jew, or not Polish. He was German. He was a German Jew that escaped just as the Nazis were taking power. So it is very much a tale of prosecution and being the other and being seen as a monster and having it forced upon you. Something you didn't choose to be, but is being forced. So the Wolfman opens with the main character, Larry Talbot, returning to his ancestral home in Wales after his brother's mysterious death. Talbot's investigation leads him to a forest surrounding his estate, where he encounters a gypsy and is bitten by a mysterious werewolf, a supernatural creature representing a primal, uncontrollable side of humanity. So the werewolf, he's saving his love interest when he stops the werewolf, because it was going to kill her. It attacks him, and then he is given the curse. So under the full moonlight, he becomes the Wolfman, attacking villagers and struggling against his own urges. So what makes the Wolfman so great for me, too, is Lon Chaney Jr.'s performance outside of the makeup as well as inside the makeup. He very much gives a strong performance of being someone who is horrified by the things that he has no control over what he's doing. Being a good man, being compulsed to kill and to harm his loved ones. There is also, like I said, a lot of imagery in it that relates to World War II. I don't know if you've ever seen The Wolfman.
I have not. I have not seen the
So
Wolfman.
part of the film, his next victims that he goes to kill are marked with a pentagram. A pentagram magically shows up on them.
Kind of like the stars for the Jews
Very
during
much
the Holocaust?
the Star of David. Yes, it is
Gotcha.
very much in reference to the Stars of David. So it is even the Wolfman himself is supposed to be, and it has been said in interviews from the screenwriter saying, yes, absolutely, I based the Wolfman himself off of the ideas of Nazism. Mm-hmm. How, the seemingly, like, people can turn into this vile, awful thing through hatred.
Yeah. That's pretty, not only is that very, like, important for people to make art like that, but I think it was very brave during a time like that to put out something that could be interpreted that way.
Oh, absolutely. It was very much it was very much a personal story for the screenwriter. He often afterwards very talked openly about his persecution and how he poured trauma and the overwhelming hate that he felt into specifically that story. It was also the first Universal Monster movie not to be based off prior literature. Like, there's always been werewolf stories, but no set book. So, first Universal Monster movie is Dracula. It's based off Bram Stoker's novel. Frankenstein, based off Mary Shelley's novel. The Invisible Man, based off H.G. Wells' novel. Mm-hmm. The Wolfman was the first one to be not based off of anything.
Very cool. It's
also...
surprising to me. Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Continue. Go ahead.
That's very cool. It's surprising to me that they went with something that could be seen as so politically charged as their first, one to stray away from the classics, like the, classic novels of the time, the Invisible Man, Dracula, and Frankenstein. But, I don't know. I just find that interesting that that's what they chose to go with, and I think it's great. I think that it's great they chose to go with the werewolf.
it's very interesting too. Even just the production side, the behind the scenes. There was technically Universal made a movie before called The Werewolf of London in 1925. The Werewolf of London, it has, I can't remember the other actor's name, but it is much more, the makeup is much more human, and it has very little to do, but they wanted to do basically a remake originally, and Boris Karloff, who famously played Frankenstein, was originally attached to star as the Wolfman. They then brought in the screenwriter. He rewrote the script, and Boris Karloff was no longer. He was having issues with Universal at the time, so Lon Chaney Jr. was given the role. He is also, Lon Chaney Jr., fun little fact, is the only actor in the Universal Monsters to play that monster in every single Universal movie that he appeared in.
So he had that on lockdown. Like, he was like, this is it. This is me.
He played him 5 times officially in the Universal pictures.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, but he also, Lon Chaney Jr. also played Dracula and Frankenstein.
There we go.
Yeah.
A man of many talents.
People also look to his performance as being somewhat of an unveiling for himself. He was very private and did not discuss his personal life a whole lot. But one of the few things he did discuss briefly is his father, who was a famous silent film actor, was very abusive towards him. And you can see a lot of, you could see that he channels a lot of that into his acting whenever he's playing, especially the Wolfman. It is probably his most famous role, but he also had quite a decent career before and after. It also, what's great too, is it features Jack Pierce's amazing prosthetics work. He is considered one of the fathers of special effects makeup. He was originally a glamour model makeup artist. His job was to make up the stars for the red carpet premieres and stuff like that, and he was hired by Universal originally to do the makeup for Frankenstein, and he stayed on and did the Wolfman and Invisible Man and quite a few other of the definitive looks for those monsters that we still think of today. One of the other cool things is this movie gave us a lot of things that we now think of as part of the werewolf mythology. The idea of like the full moon transformations. Before it was just any moon, often in stories. The idea of silver bullets killing the werewolf. And also the idea of making him much more sympathetic.
Yeah, not every werewolf property, like not every werewolf thing does that, where they're sympathetic.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a really fun watch. It very much holds up. I really enjoy it. Even the actor that plays Larry Talbot's father in the movie, he's great. He was the original Invisible Man, so he gives quite the over the top performance too, and it's a lot of fun.
Now that you've talked about it a little bit, I do want to watch The Wolfman, but as it stands right now, my favorite werewolf movie is An American Werewolf in London. How do you find like something like that compares to The Wolfman? Like, do you think they took great inspiration from that, or is it
they openly have said in behind the scenes 100% Jack Pierce's prosthetic work and stuff like that, heavily inspired, because there is a scene in The Wolfman where he transforms. And American Werewolf in London takes that scene and bumps it up to 11.
Nice.
They took the limitations that they couldn't do in the 1940s and did it. It was actually really cool the way that they did the transformation scene in the 1940s. Is it took hours to shoot. It's maybe a 15-second long scene in the movie, but it took 6 hours to shoot because the way that they did it was they took stills of Lon Chaney Jr. and while they were doing his makeup, and slowly as they were adding more and more of the makeup, they would cross dissolve, and so it would look like he was turning into becoming hairier, his face becoming distorted, and becoming more of the Wolfman.
Oh my god, kind of like stop motion animation.
Oh, exactly. Right? Yeah, very much so. Yeah, it really does still hold up. It's such a great film.
My number 3 is finally a movie that you could consider more of like an actual classic, that everyone is kind of in agreement that, it's really good, really well done, pretty much everybody likes it, is The Silence of the Lambs. It was released in 1991, and I think it's fair to say that this movie had a huge impact on horror, blending police procedural and psychological thriller beautifully. It's another one that I've seen a bunch of times, and I love it. This one you can definitely say that the acting, directing, and overall production of the film is phenomenal. They really did something special while keeping the film like dark and disturbing, and yeah, it's an examination as well of a woman, Jodie Foster's character, making her way through a male-dominated field. I find it very interesting that they portray that like so well. I find, in my opinion anyway, that it seems very realistic, like seeing her have to jockey for her place, to be taken seriously, and to push forward. It's frustrating, but it's nice to see that they're actually taking it into consideration in the movie. I can only imagine what women working in a place like the FBI face even today. It just screams boys club. And Anthony Hopkins, can we talk about him for a second? Amazing. 10 out of 10. No notes. I couldn't imagine anyone else doing a better job at Hannibal Lecter. He's so creepy and like reserved, but you know exactly what he's done, so you just can't relax when he's on screen. He's real wily too and clever. I don't want to spoil it. Should I spoil it? It's been out for like over 20 years. Over 30 years. Should I spoil what I'm going to talk about?
I mean, this is a fair spoiler warning, I think.
Okay, yeah. Spoiler warning for everybody if you don't want to be spoiled for something in the latter half of Silence of the Lambs. Like I said, he's really wily and clever, and I think that's portrayed really well when he attacks the guard, steals his face and like his clothes, and like switches out for the guard at the end when he escapes. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, where like the guard is like supposedly the guard is like in the ambulance and stuff, and it's actually Hannibal. I just think it, like, he's always thinking, and he's so smart. He's smarter than everybody in the room, which is terrifying.
There is definitely in his performance, there is a very, he has, while he's reserved, there's always like something going on like behind his eyes. He's very calm, but he looks, he gives you a look as if he's thinking very violent thoughts towards you.
Yeah, you want to know what word comes to mind when you talk specifically about his eyes? Calculating. Yeah, I have a feeling that this movie would be on a lot of people's top fives, just for all the reasons that we've talked about. And to be honest, I was going back and forth for this number 3 spot between this movie and The Shining, but I asked myself, what movie could I throw on over and over again and still enjoy? And this was my answer. And the sequel. Have you seen the sequel?
I've seen bits and pieces. Again,
Okay, yeah.
I feel like it's one of those series that through cultural osmosis at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's just kind of absorbed into different bits and pieces into people. Um, but like yeah, it's with Ray Liotta and
Oh
Julianne
yes,
Moore,
yeah.
and I'm sorry.
Yes. I was like, oh yeah, yeah. I remember a particular scene from that movie.
Okay, that's probably exactly what I'm thinking of too. Like I know a lot of people hated it, but I loved it. So another spoiler alert for 2001's Hannibal, the sequel to Silence of the Lambs. But when I first saw that movie, I was still pretty young. I don't even think I was a teenager yet. And the scene of Ray Liotta getting fed his own brain creeped me out. And I still
That's
think
the
about it every
scene
once in a while.
I immediately thought of.
Yeah, yeah, like this movie and the brain eating scene and a specific scene from the beginning of Midsummer are two horror movie scenes that just like I'll think about sometimes. I'll be in the shower and I'll just be like, remember that? um, but yeah. Anyway, Silence of the Lambs, really good. Can't recommend it enough. If for some reason you haven't seen it.
All right. So my number three is okay. This one is the most recent one on my list, most recent to come out, and is probably a controversial pick. I know some people really loved it, some people really did not. I really enjoyed it. But my number three is Robert Eggers' Nosferatu from 2024.
Hell yeah.
So Robert Eggers' Nosferatu tells the story of a traveling salesman named Thomas Hutter who visits Count Orlok in Transylvania to finalize a property deal. Orlok is played by Bill Skarsgård and he is killing it in this movie. Is a terrifying rat-like vampire with plague-like tendencies, embodying death, disease, and unnatural hunger. So Bill Skarsgård, just to start, he's so good in everything he's in. But particularly him as Orlok is a separate type of terrifying. He's less the romantic, gothic, suave vampire of like Bela Lugosi or the charming Dracula of Christopher Lee from the Hammer films. He is very much feels like a creature, like something just evil incarnate. That there's no person there anymore. He is decayed and rotten to his core.
He does. He almost has like this mummified type thing going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And just Eggers' atmosphere of historical accuracy and being getting lots of little details right, from costuming to how he sets up his sets and lighting, all really immerses you in this world. And there is, for me, the themes of repressed sexual desires. There's very between the main character, Thomas's wife Ellen. There's a very much an unrequited sexual desire there between her and Orlok, and it isn't until, spoiler alert, towards the end when she manages to distract him long enough for the sun to come out.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a sacrifice, right? A sacrifice of your own not even like innocence, but your own consent. Like you're sacrificing everything. Like you're sacrificing yourself to save others, and you're putting yourself through something incredibly uncomfortable, which under normal circumstances you would not consent to, but it's just that dire.
Well, it very much another thing about it is very much going against the social norms. They play it up, obviously the very mid 18 to late 1800s like ideal of the women being, seen but not heard type thing, and her being much more open about what's happening is, causes a lot of issues for her, both, with their friends who are trying to help and trying to convince people what's actually going on.
Yeah. Well, and at first, too, before people start blaming her, it's the classic, like, oh, this woman has thoughts. She must be wrong in some way. She must be disturbed. She must be, like, need medical attention because she has, like, her own thoughts.
I love, the only other person that believes her immediately is William Dafoe's scientist character, his doctor character. That is, who is also seen as crazy and mad. Of course, he immediately believes her. He is one of my favorite characters in that movie. Just Willem Dafoe is just giving it the most over the top, chewing the scenery performance, and you could tell he's having a great time in it.
Oh, you mean the Rat King?
But also, yes, he has very much like a lot of the characters are a little over the top of it, but like it never goes to the point of like, oh no, these people are all like affected like by the madness and craziness that Orlok brings with him. I really do love it. Like one of my favorite scenes, I still think it's early in the film. It's after Thomas first gets to Orlok's castle, and it's the first time we see Orlok. But they keep him out of focus and keep him lit from under with the fireplace. So Thomas is sitting at the table, pulling out the contracts and stuff for him to fill out, and we don't get a good glimpse of him. We just have an out of focus, like shadowy. We see a silhouette. We hear his deep breathing, and that's all we get of him for the first little bit. And I find that so effective.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it was so well done, and everything was chosen so specifically, and just everything seemed to have been done on purpose and just to a T. I agree that Nosferatu is amazing. It's fantastic. It's so good. And I would have put it on my list, but like we tried not to have repeats. So, but it is like, let's say top 10. I've got my top 5 I'm talking about here today, but Nosferatu is definitely in the top 10. And I'm going to go to, for my number 2, I'm going with a movie that's more recent. And I might get some pushback on this, but it is what it is. My second favorite horror movie right now is Weapons. I know it's recent. I know it's modern. It hasn't had that much time to settle into the zeitgeist. But when I think of top 5 horror movies, I think of, do I love it? Did it stick with me? And would I rewatch it again? That kind of thing. I'm not talking, I think these are the best films of all time, period. I'm talking about me personally. These are my favorites. I saw Weapons recently, and it really stuck with me. I already want to watch it again. I loved the story, the acting, the effects, everything. A lot of it was practical, which again, huge points for that. It's about a small town where the entire class of one of the teachers goes missing except for one kid. So much intrigue, and like I am sure it's not going to be what you think. And because it's still pretty new, I won't go much deeper than that, but let me tell you, it's really different. And I haven't seen a movie as delightfully weird as this one in a really long time. But don't take that as, oh, it's not very scary. It is. It's violent. There are some moments of really grounded horror. There's one scene that I won't get into, but it made me think, oh my gosh, that could happen to me. Like tomorrow it could. In any case, if anyone is wondering, my favorite character from the movie is Benedict Wong's the school principal. Love him. Love him. So good.
I don't have too much to add to that. I haven't seen it, obviously. My number 2, though, I know you've 100% seen it. My number 2 is 1984's A Nightmare on Elm Street, directed by Wes Craven. In A Nightmare from Elm Street, the story centers around Nancy Thompson and her friends who are being stalked and killed in their dreams by Freddy Krueger, man burned alive for murdering children. The genius in the film lies in making a safe space of sleeping terrifying, and where usually rules of reality no longer apply. So obviously, it spawned one of the best horror icons of all time. Freddy is both scary and charismatic, and a little cheesy. Robert Englund is definitely having a great time playing him. The kills in the first movie, I think, are some of the best in the series. The bathtub scene is particularly one of my favorites. But just even as simple as, the walls, whenever he's coming through the walls, they shot it using a sheet, but it looks amazing,
Yeah. Well, and too, is it in the first one that Johnny Depp gets swallowed up?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
Yeah, it's one of his earliest roles. Also, just the practical effects. I'm a sucker for practical effects. They used a lot of tilting rooms and wires and creative camera angles to give that dream-like aesthetic whenever people are being killed in the dream world. And just that finale in the boiler room is such a fun, classic scene.
Yeah, no, it's really good. It's really a classic. I think everybody knows who Freddy Krueger is. Like, somehow we just all know. How do you feel about the remake? Have you seen the remake that came out, like, in the 2000s, 2010s?
With Jackie Earle Haley? Yes. I like Jackie Earle Haley, but I feel like they went in the wrong direction for that movie.
Yeah, I agree. I saw that shit in theaters, and at first I thought maybe, like, they had something, but by the end I was like, not into it at all. And didn't they retcon in this one that not like, he may have been a child murderer too, but also he was, like, touching the kids in the remake? Yeah, which, like, was that necessary? I don't know. Like, he's a horror icon.
He's already murdering them.
I thought that's the thing, but there's a whole other ick factor to, like, touching them. I don't know. I just feel like he was already a murderer. You don't have to add that because, like, not that people supported Freddy Krueger, but it was cool to wear, like, the sweater or the glove and, like, be him for Halloween. No one wants to be a predator for Halloween. I don't know.
I think maybe they're trying to take more from real life serial killers to flesh out his backstory.
Maybe.
People like John Wayne Gacy, that type of thing.
Yeah. But yeah, the original is the best. It's really good.
Some of the sequels are hit or miss, I will say.
Yeah. Dream Warriors, though. Dream Warriors is so good.
Yeah. Honestly, I will defend Last Nightmare.
Okay. Fair.
Controversial, but I will defend it.
I mean, my number 5 pick of my favorite horror movies of all time was Tremors, so I'm not going to judge too hard. All right, so I guess we'll move on to my number 1.
Yes.
All right, drum roll, please. Just kidding. I don't want to blow out the microphone. All right. So, and then there was one. My number 1, which is my favorite for 2 very important reasons, is Evil Dead 2. It has a sentimental piece for me, like Tremors, because I watched it a lot with my dad growing up. And I love it so much that I've seen it at least a dozen times. It's one movie that just never gets old for me. It's spooky, it's funny, it's gory. It's just such a good time to watch it. Bruce Campbell is amazing, and his one-liners from this one are iconic. And like the chin on that man. Seriously,
If
though,
chins
it's
could
really
kill.
exactly if chins could kill. It is my favorite though, and the master of horror himself, Stephen King, is why this movie was even possible. Sam Raimi couldn't get the money together to make it, but Stephen King was such a fan of the original Evil Dead that he convinced Dino De Laurentiis to finance this one. And I guess I should give a bit of a description, I guess, for the movie who aren't familiar of the movie for people who aren't familiar. Actually, it was released in 1987, and the movie follows Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, as he fights evil in a secluded cabin in the woods. At the beginning, there's kind of a retread of the first movie, catching up anyone who might have missed why Ash was stuck at the cabin. And then it picks up from there, and shit goes wild. I was checking out the trivia on IMDb, and there's a scene where just a ton of fake blood is shot at Bruce. And to do it, they had him lay on the floor, but tilted the camera to make it look like he was standing up against a wall, and then dropped the fake blood onto him. And apparently, for the next 2 weeks, every time he blew his nose, red snot came out. Because they just, like, covered him so much in the fake blood, and it was shot at him so hard. So that kind of gives you an idea. Like, it's kind of goofy, and the performances are over the top, and it's weird, but I absolutely love it. I wouldn't change a thing about it. It's perfect.
Well, I love Evil Dead 2. It is such a fun movie. But personally, my favorite is Army of Darkness.
I can see that. Army of Darkness is fantastic and so good. But for me personally, it just leans a little bit too much on the comedy. It's not scary enough for me.
That's fair.
Yeah, but it's so good. Like a double feature of Evil Dead and Army of Darkness, nothing better. So good.
So how did you feel about the, not necessarily remake, but the guest continuation of it from 2013?
Yeah, I haven't seen it more than I think twice, but that doesn't mean that I didn't like it. I did like it, and I really liked the main girl who played the main actress. I can't remember what her name is, but I really liked her, and it was good, but nothing will replace Evil Dead 2, like, in my heart. But it was very good, and I haven't seen the new one, Evil Dead Rise, so I'm behind on that. And also they just did Evil Dead Burn, which isn't out yet, but I'll have to catch up before I watch that. But Ash vs. Evil Dead 2, the show, it's very Army of Darkness level humor and, like, lack of seriousness, but it's really good. It's really good. Everything Evil Dead I'm kind of a fan of, but just Evil Dead 2 is my number one.
Well, it's a really fun movie. So my number one is considered now. At the time it released, it was not critically. It's pretty critically panned. Financially, did not do very well, but it found a life on home video and being shown on TV, and it has become considered one of the masterpieces of horror. It is John Carpenter's The Thing from 1982.
Woo, woo.
Obviously, for those who haven't seen it, so John Carpenter's The Thing is a masterclass in paranoia, isolation, and body horror. The story begins with the Norwegian research team in Antarctica discovering a buried alien, and when the American team arrives, they uncover the organism, which can perfectly imitate any living being. The film unfolds as suspicion consumes the team, and the alien infiltrates the group, mimicking friends and colleagues. As body count rises, the crew struggles to determine who is human and who is the thing. So it is such a psychological and tense movie. Once the creature is first revealed, everything from there is just so tense. You don't know who to trust, who to follow. Even our somewhat main character, McCready, there is a very real sense that you don't know if he's been replaced or not.
Yeah, like everyone gets paranoid, right? And like for good reason.
It is very ambiguous. The ending is so ambiguous and so talked
yes.
about. So, spoiler alert, the climax ends with only two people alive, McCready and Childs. McCready played by Kurt Russell and Childs played by Keith David. And it ends with them sharing a drink in the snow, not knowing if they've successfully killed the creature or one of them could possibly be it.
Yeah. Has John Carpenter ever said what his intention was with that? Like whether he had it in his mind set, like who was the thing, if there was anybody at the end who was the thing?
John Carpenter has refused to answer that question.
Okay.
There was a comic book that was not written by him, that he wasn't really involved in at all, that kind of hints to one way, but John Carpenter himself has never said. I've heard one story of someone at a convention going up to him and telling him their theory and him confirming it to them. But it's a he said, she said,
Yeah.
story. John Carpenter has very purposely has said that he won't reveal because he likes the ambiguity of it and loves hearing what people think. Some great practical effects. Oh my god, the Rob Bottin's practical effects are absolutely amazing. This movie came out in 1982 and it looks better than some of the CGI stuff that's still being done today. Particularly, one of my favorite scenes is when they're trying to determine who is the creature, and they all take a blood sample and they touch a hot wire to the blood to see if it will react. That scene is so intense and so like you don't know who's going to be okay and who's not.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's really good. This easily could have taken one of the slots on my top 5. It's definitely in my top 10.
Or also the scene, the autopsy scene, where they're trying to revive where they go to use the paddles. Not autopsy, but when they try to use the paddles and his chest just opens and swallows the doctor's arms, and then his head comes off. If you are into body horror or just psychological thrillers in general, The Thing is such a great movie, but not for the squeamish, I will say. Fun little fact. Do you know what film was released at the same time that it went up against in the box office?
Ooh. What year was The Thing?
1982.
1982. Oh, I wouldn't even know what to guess. Like Titanic or something? Or no, that's more recent. I don't know.
It was released the same weekend as E.T.
No way.
Yep.
Oh my god. How did it do? You said it didn't do great, right?
Oh, horribly.
Aw.
It barely made... I think it didn't even break even with this production. John Carpenter, also, we have to talk about with John Carpenter being multi-talented. He did the score for The Thing, and it is amazing. It adds so much to the atmosphere of the movie.
Yeah. I was just gonna ask, like, obviously The Thing is really popular like today everyone loves it, or like most people, like, you know, a lot of horror people are into it. So did it really see a jump and like a return on like their investment instead of in the box office in like the home video section?
Home video, very much so.
Okay. I thought
It
so.
became very much a cult classic, and has just become more and more popular with each re-release they've done of it. Like I said, it was not critically acclaimed at the time, but now most critics will say it is genre-defining body horror, and it is such a well-paced and put-together film. It was a grueling film, though, to shoot. While not shot in Antarctica, the sets were built on a refrigerated soundstage. So all the actors were freezing all the time.
Oh my god, I didn't know that was a thing, a refrigerated sound
Yeah,
stage?
so they I built this refrigerated soundstage, and they kept it just below, just around freezing. So if you're watching the movie, you can see all the actors whenever they're talking and stuff. Constantly, you can see their breath. And that's where one of the theories that who might be the creature in the end comes from, because one of the characters, I won't say which one, doesn't have breath.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Like you can't see their breath.
You can't see their breath.
Huh.
Also, just Kurt Russell's performance. Yeah, everybody, Wilford Brimley, Keith David, like they're all given their A game.
Diabetes.
Diabetes.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
There is a part, I don't want to really spoil, but there is a scene where there's a long shot of a hallway, and in my brain every time I see it, I'm just waiting for some reason. It doesn't happen, but I'm just waiting for Wilford Brimley to go sprinting down the hallway at them.
And like, what do you think about the not the remake? I think it was supposed to be a prequel, but they made it in like the 2010s with Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yes. Yeah. So it was supposed to be, originally, the pitch was it was supposed to be the Norwegian research team
Yeah.
that we see at the beginning of John Carp, the original. Well, not the original. Technically, The Thing is a remake of a 1950s movie called The Thing from Another World, which is then also based off of a sci-fi novel from the 1930s. So the somewhat remake, somewhat prequel, I am not a fan of. I will be honest. Looking at the production of it, it was such a troubled production. They had done all the effects practically and then replaced them with CGI. And it does not look nearly as good as the original, with all of the actual, like, the practical effects.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw it back in the day when it first came out. I've only seen it once, and yeah, I wasn't really a fan. Didn't really like it. Didn't really have much feeling about it at all. It just came out, and that was it. The prequel, not the original. Like the Kurt Russell one, the prequel sequel type thing. That was just kind of lame. But oh my god, the Kurt Russell one is so good.
Yeah. It's funny, revisiting it, I can't believe how much Kurt Russell looks like his son Wyatt Russell does right now.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they have such a similar...
Because they both have, like, yeah, because in The Thing, he has the big beard, and Wyatt Russell, I saw a picture of him recently, he has the big beard, and he looks so much, they look so much alike.
Man, I love, just speaking of Wyatt Russell, his horror movie Overlord that he does, which is a World War II horror movie, is excellent. Oh my gosh.
World War II zombie movie, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like he's doing great. Like his dad is amazing and he's doing great. Like good for them.
So that was my number one pick.
All right. Well, that was your number one. I've gone through my 5 to 1 and yeah, I hope everybody enjoyed that. If you guys want some similar episodes, some more pop culture focused episodes in the future, please let us know at the Creepy Cryptic Podcast at gmail.com. And please give us a subscribe, a like, a follow, all that good stuff. We're on YouTube, Facebook, and pretty much everywhere you can get a podcast. And we will join you next time for another creepy episode.
All right. Thanks for listening.